5 investing tips that you need to do in a recession. What's up and welcome back to Creative Money, the show that helps you make money in creative ways. I'm your host, Denver McQuaid, and today we're gonna be looking at 5 investing tips that you need to do in a recession. Now first, I want to preface this video by saying no sponsors, not trying to sell you anything. Any stocks I mention, reference are purely for examples, context, or my own very personal experience and approach. Not something I'm recommending you replicate or take at 100% face value. Do more research than one white dude on the internet, all right? Get at least 2. So if you haven't heard, 2023 in a recession are kind of in like a situationship, like a will they, won't they kind of situation. And I think they will and are. This is not a guarantee. I'm not trying to like fearmonger, but I think we're gonna have a bit of a pullback. So in this video, we're gonna have the lens that a recession is inevitable and giving you 5 investing tips to safely see your way through it. Tip number 1, focus on quality. For the sake of this video, the definition of quality we're gonna use is an established company with decades of success, steady cash flow, and a healthy balance sheet, meaning they got a lot of money just sitting around. We're talking like the Apples of the world. Apple has more money than countries, and if you think I'm exaggerating,
I'm not.
So if that doesn't piss you off at least a little bit, you're in the wrong place. If it does piss you off a little bit, we're gonna help you make some money. An established company is going to have a long-term track record success of being in the business that they're in, the industry that they're in for a long time, and being one of, if not the top performer in that business. We're talking Coca-Cola of the soda beverage drink energy. Coca-Cola doesn't just make Coca-Cola and Diet Coke. They own a ton of stuff, man, like a lot. Like if you didn't know, look it up. They own a lot. Pretty safe company to put money in, hypothetically. Point is, very well established company. You can say the same thing about Disney, although they are having layoffs. They're suffering from adapting to a Disney Plus streaming model. They lost a lot of money there, so maybe that's not a good play, right? They are celebrating 100 years. They typically do have a lot of money in the balance sheet. They also have a lot of debt. They don't make a lot of money from their parks. They basically break even. And Disney actually doesn't make a lot of money from their entertainment. You're like, yeah, they own Marvel and it like okay, like yes, more than anything, they make most of their money from ESPN. Like the thing your dad always like had on, that's where Disney makes a vast majority of the money. They don't make it selling you ears for like the 5th time. You don't need that many, okay? We'll do a whole video on Disney adult finances. God help me if we get there. Moving on. Billionaire Warren Buffett hates tip number 2, and I'll explain why. Because tip number 2 is diversify your portfolio. Now wait a minute. Why am I giving you a tip that a billionaire who's made his money by investing in companies and stock market hates? Well, he's got a point, but so do we. His point is a diversified portfolio is accepting that you don't know what you're like doing and looking at, because his thought is find the company that you think is gonna make the most money, put all your money in that, stock go up. Well, that's great when it works, except most of the time it doesn't, because for every Warren Buffett that exists, there's millions of people where it didn't work. Not hating on the guy, just saying like, if he has the money, other people at one point had the money and no longer do, right? So point is, he doesn't like it, but also his entire job and career for like 70 years has been investing in companies and stocks. So yeah, if you had 70 years experience, you'd probably agree with the guy. But you don't, which is why tip number 2 is diversify your portfolio, because you aren't Warren Buffett. You don't know the next company where you can see and predict like revolutions of technology into the future. You're just a normal person with a job who's got like a couple hundred or couple $1,000 to spend. You're not Warren Buffett. Point is, diversify your portfolio. Big thing I love, ETFs, which like, don't even worry about the acronym. It's exchange traded fund, which like means nothing. So I'm not trying to like, don't worry about the acronym. The point is, it's like a pool of a bunch of companies and you can put money in that. So instead of buying a stock from company A, you've invested in the entire alphabet. Does that make sense? You have the whole alphabet. You have all the letters. So if one letter gets canceled or goes bankrupt, but like Z's take off, you're invested there. But if you put all your money over here on G's and G's have a rough year, you're screwed. Why did I add a G to screw? There's not even a G in screw. I should have thought that analogy through. That was all off the cuff. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. Tip number 3, value investing. What's value investing? Basically, think of it as a stock that is on sale. Now, this can be tricky because you can look at companies like Meta that have lost an insane amount of value recently and be like, oh, well, that's cheaper than it was, I'll do that. Or Netflix, which like was $500 a share at one point and now is not, and is also like probably gonna go down when they roll out this password crackdown thing, or has already gone down because of that. While it's cheaper, that doesn't always mean it's on sale. Do some research before you just throw money in. Another company, again, I'm not recommending this to you. This is my personal investment strategy. I'm sharing it for contextual reasons. I own some shares of Six Flags. I love amusement parks. I think Six Flags has been the budget chain for a while, but their new CEO is trying to change that. It's gonna be a bit more expensive for their consumer, but I think the overall value that consumers will bring in will increase. I think revenue, everything will. I bought in when the stock was like $21, but a couple years ago, it was $50, $60. You know what? I'm gonna look it up right now. Six Flags stock is valued at $29.41. Purely using that as an example of a company that I feel has potential in the long run, and I'm throwing some money at it to triple or double it. In this case, might be only $200, but you can see how that scales, right? If you have $200,000 and that doubles to $400,000, you're like, oh, okay. Not saying go throw all your money at Six Flags, but that's a risk I was willing to put $200 on, essentially. Tip number 4, keep a long-term perspective, guys. Recessions are often very temporary. They hurt right now, but very short-term sacrifice can lead to long-term and future benefits, growth, wealth, health. Invest now when things are cheaper and lower, and put a little bit in, stockpile over time. And as markets and economies get better, both locally and globally, you will have more assets for the good times as well. And finally, guys, be patient. Be patient. I know it's fun. Robinhood makes it so, like, I get it. It's fun. It feels like a little bit of gambling. It's a little bit of scary. There's a little bit of adrenaline and all that. Zoom out. Long term, guys, line goes up. Long term, line goes up. Be patient. Understand that the sacrifice and investment now is for your future, and your future self will thank you. Because if you're the type of person that's struggling with bills, that's always got poverty mindset because you're always worrying about the next bill, the next paycheck, everything, you are not alone. And I feel for you, I do. I've been there multiple times in my life. I've built out of it, I've fallen back into it. It's been a journey, okay? To wrap it up, keeping these 5 expert investing tips in mind is crucial on investing and using your money during a recession to get the most value for yourself now and in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment if you agree with any of these things, if you have follow-up questions, if anything I said in this video sparked some questions that you want me to make a video about, let me know below. Remember, guys, if you have money problems and nothing changes, nothing will change. All right? Believe in yourself, invest in yourself. Let's go make some money. Have a good one. That was fun. That was fun.